the leadership and Dave Roberts?
It's both. I mean, the players still have to perform, but you got to make those decisions and save Kershaw from himself almost. That's how I see it.
Somebody needs to save Kershaw because he is great during the season. Postseason, he chokes. I mean, there's even memes about him too now. And then Jensen, he goes from having the all-time saves in the franchise of the Dodgers to now, like, come on, you just lost your job as a closer. And since September, his fastball has not even gone over 94 miles an hour. So it's like, is that really a fastball? And now he's saying it's not how fast you throw, it's about the pitches. Well, you're not making the right pitches either. So both him and, Kershaw keep choking on the Dodgers and the manager as well.
It's amazing how these guys play at such a high level, but they just lose their mechanics all of a sudden. Isn't that baffling? That these guys, they're at peak physical condition, but when it comes down to it, there's just times they just lose it. Yeah. It's gone.
And for being the best team in baseball, being Dodgers 43-17 regular season, in the postseason, they're making it as far as they have now, but still, coming back to those factors and still not able to pull through. Was this the year? We shall see. It's still not over, but, still the struggles. And, for me, what I see is their pitching, maybe too much faith. Maybe Dave Roberts has too much faith on his players. Maybe the organization has too much faith on Dave Roberts, Kershaw, Jensen. If they had David Price this season, they decided to opt out. He decided to opt out for the 2020 season due to the pandemic. Would that have made a difference for the Dodgers?
I think it definitely would have helped. Yeah, just like I was talking about earlier, the third guy, he would have been a great third starter. Plus, he's got World Series experience. He just beat the Dodgers a few years ago with Boston. So I think, and also let me bring up one thing. I hate to bring up the Astros, but the Dodgers would have won the 2017 World Series if the Astros didn't cheat. So can we say that at least? That was a legacy-altering World Series, in my opinion. Think about how we look at Kershaw now. If he wins a World Series, everybody dials it back a little bit on him. So I think I like to at least put that in perspective that maybe if they weren't cheating, the Dodgers would be looked at totally differently by now. Right, Eileen?
You know what? Yeah, I had to say something. My smiler. I'm going to give you that just because I feel so bad you going to the playoffs so many years in a row and still not getting a ring. So go ahead.
Thank you. We'll take it. Well, since we all hate the Astros, why not say it? So there you go.
All right. So I think we went on the Dodgers and we went pretty hard on them. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Braves. I like what you said earlier, Eileen, about let the kids play. And that's what I see with the Braves, seeing the team that they used to be, back when they be that postseason team that would be for pretty much a guarantee that they would make it to the postseason and battling it. And that's what we're seeing that team again. That's what I feel like they're being kids and they're playing. They have Acuna, they have Dansby, just to name a couple, and they're just putting it all out there. And the way that they're playing, oh my gosh. For them, I think they should be one of the teams to make it all the way just because of the way that they are playing.
Yeah, for me with the Braves, they're playing like that team and they don't have anything to lose. They're loose. Some might have not even expected them to be there. And what I like about them too, they have probably they've got a couple really good players bordering on superstar potential, but it seems like it's a real team effort over there and very well coached defensively, offensively. They've got, they got some pop. They got some guys that can run the bases. Probably just as comparable. We look at the Dodgers because of all their star power and but this Braves team is just as, I guess, very comparable to them in terms of what they put together. And like I said, that fact that they don't have anything to lose. And, Brett and I, we've been on the field before. I don't know, Ed, you play some sports. Eileen, I'm not sure your background, but when you feel like, hey, I can just let it all go, it's a breeze in comparison to the weight that the Dodgers are carrying around right now, because they all know the pressure is on from manager down to the bat boy. Everybody knows, man, this is rough if we don't pull this off. So I like what the Braves are doing. They're playing really free and easy. And like I said, what I like about them, they haven't just built for this postseason. This is an organization that over the next 5 years or so, they keep this together and these guys grow together every year. They could be right back in the same spot.
I agree. And they went through some tough times and through a struggle, and they built up their team, which is what has made them the team that they are today and has brought them to the postseason. And they remind me a little bit of the Nationals and how, a little bit of comparison, how, just playing, getting loose and going out there, like you said, and they have nothing to lose.
Yes, that was another team that, like I said, let the kids play. And I love watching these young kids play baseball with all their heart. And the Braves, man, they've been a fun team to watch. And I remember seeing them battling against the Dodgers as well. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. And they've been in that race, and I think it's time for them. And I'm rooting for them to go to the World Series, not just because they're playing against the Dodgers, but because I want the Braves to go for him. They're riding on their bullpen to take them to the World Series. And like we said here, their pitching does get you the championships, but we'll see. I mean, so far they have shut down Dodgers offense. And right now it seems they're 3-0. So, I mean, they still have a chance, though. It's still not the last game. Go Braves.
It is a different mentality when you're the hunter as opposed to the hunted. Just like Ed said, when you really have, you can just let it all hang out. When you're not the Dodgers, the bull's eye is not on you, and you can just play loose. You got guys, you got Freddie Freeman. Kid's been there forever. Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna Jr., such a fun kid to watch. Marcell Ozuna, another fun kid to watch. Bryce Wilson pitched his heart out against Clayton Kershaw the other night. Just so many great storylines with this Atlanta Braves team. And like I said, they are a fun team to watch. I would love to see them advance past the Los Angeles Dodgers as well. Eileen, and represent the National League. That would be a fun team to watch in the World Series because they just come out, they're so loose and they're just having fun, and they seem like they actually enjoy being with each other, even as crazy as this pandemic is, and with all the travel and crazy things that they had to do to prepare to actually get to Arlington to play this series against the Dodgers, but they're still hanging in there and they're fighting and they're having fun because they know this is their job. And they enjoy what they're doing. It's October baseball, and they're this close to making it to the World Series for the first time in a long time that the Braves haven't been there. Yeah, go Braves.
I would say, some teams have to tank for a few years to rebuild, and then it just takes them a while to get back to where they're good. The Braves have rebuilt themselves without even missing a beat. They've made the playoffs in the, sparingly throughout the last few years. So they haven't had this big downturn, and now they're back to who they are. They've drafted well, and they're bringing all these kids up, and they're all doing very well once they get up there. So I think it's impressive, and that's why I had them as my biggest surprise earlier, just because even though they had a great record this year, no one's really expecting them to win the World Series. They just weren't, and they are playing as good as anybody. You could argue the Rays and the Braves have played as good a baseball as anybody in the league. So good for them, and they got a lot of talent. And like Ed Smith said earlier, like they're building for the future as well. This is not just a one-shot deal. They got a lot of guys that are going to carry into the next 5-10 years. Yeah, and then like you said, Brett, just like the Braves, we have the Rays. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about them before we go ahead and get to the nice and dirty of the next team we'll be talking about here shortly. But the Rays, they surpassed the Yankees, which was unexpected for me because I expected to see the Yankees. Come on, it's the Yankees. How are they not going to make it and beat the Rays? Not beat the Rays. So, and actually that flipped. That was just one of my surprises actually as well. But they came out dominating the Astros, and now the Astros have come back to go ahead and force a Game 7, and they're still in it. So that's another one that they're just, hey, at the same time, let's go ahead and play. Let's put it out there once again. Nothing to lose. You go up 3-0, and then all of a sudden you lose 3 straight games. That's got to mess with you mentally. Because you're like, oh my gosh, we're up 3-0. We've got a chance to wrap this thing up, possibly a sweep.
But now the Houston Astros, it's a Game 7 winner take all. So yeah, so you've got to be thinking, what's going on in that clubhouse? What are these guys sitting there thinking as they get ready for their game in a couple of hours? They're going to play around 5:37. So in a couple hours, Game 7. It's wow. They've got to be nervous, but at the same time, they've got to let those nerves go because it's Game 7. And they put themselves in a situation. They should have closed out the Houston Astros instead of letting them win 3 straight. They had chances to close them out. They lost Game 4, 4-3, Game 5, 4-3, and 7-4. So they were all close games, but still they aired on the side of the Houston Astros. So they just got to go out there, play loose, and let all the chips fall where they may. Game 7, if they win, they win. They go to the World Series. If they lose, well, hey, we had a great season. But it was still we had destiny in our own hands, but we couldn't close it out. They were 40-20 during the regular season, but if they lose Game 7, that would be an absolutely horrific way to end the season. Nevertheless, it was a great season, but it's not the way that they wanted it to be if they lose Game 7.
Well, I think the Rays are in danger of becoming, at one point, obviously everybody's Cinderella, number 1 seed to becoming a trivia question that nobody wants to be if they lose this game. Obviously, who was the only other team other than the Yankees to lose a 3-0 lead? It would be, of course, the Tampa Bay Rays. And they don't want that. I mean, it's one of those things, man, where and I've been in situations where those closeout games, everybody thinks they're easy, especially when you have the big, you're up 3-0. But the other team, I mean, that's like cornering. I joke with my radio partner all the time. You don't want to corner that raccoon out there because you find out that raccoon means business if you're going to put him in harm's way. And we all know they'll come out scratching and fighting and everything. That's what the Houston has done. And Tampa Bay just has not been able to close them out. Hopefully they do it tonight. But man, the fear, not fear, but the heart palpitations in that Tampa Bay locker room at this point, because you go up from 3, after celebrating, we're up 3-0. Man, we got this. All of a sudden, the last 3, and now you're going into do or die, win or go home. Man, nothing like it. And we'll see if some of those booties pucker up a little bit tonight, or they come out loose and they pull this out. But like I said, you don't want to be that trivia answer in the end that if you don't win this. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be talking Tampa Bay victory instead of we got to watch Houston for another series.
I think totally agree with what the both other guys said. A couple of good things, though, at least for the Rays. They got Charlie Morton going for Game 7, former Astro when they won the World Series. He's probably their best pitcher outside of Snell, who was the Cy Young Award winner. So they have a solid starter going in Game 7. And also, and I've heard some of the analysts say it on TV, Tampa Bay has made defense cool again. Like, they're making all these plays in the field that are helping their pitchers. So a lot of these games are close, like Cole was saying, and they're in every game, but they have zero momentum at this point. You lose 3 in a row. Houston's all excited. They're the me against the world team, like we were talking about earlier. So they have no momentum. They have to stop the bleeding today and see if they can, at least get to a World Series. But they've been exciting to watch, and they had a great year. But it's going to be a big disappointment if they don't get to the World Series, being up 3-0 in the ALCS.
Yes, I agree with Brett. The momentum has now shifted. The Rays had a great, they lost 5 key pitchers, yet they went past the Yankees, the great New York Yankees. Now they're facing the Astros, and the things have gotten tough. And the momentum has shifted. The Astros are close to making to the World Series again. But the Rays are a resilient group. They're a resilient team. They love playing their defense. After every catch that those kids have, it's like you hear it. Da-da-da, da-da-da. It's flying in the air, doing all these great plays. Like, I love it. It's a fun team to watch. They still say they like their chances, that they're not giving up. And I like that. I like the Cinderella team of the story here, and that's the Rays, a resilient group. And I'm going for the Rays to go to the World Series and face the Braves.
Let's go ahead and get right in there. We've covered it here and there and touched on it. The Astros. Let's go ahead and get down and dirty with the Astros. And you guys said it. Tampa had the momentum. They had the chance to go ahead and close it out. That momentum has shifted. It has shifted to the Astros, and right now we're in a pivotal moment to see who's going to go ahead and go on to the World Series. could very potentially be the Astros. Will this be like a moment of redemption for the Astros coming off of the season and the scandal and everything that the Astros has been? They have Dusty Baker as their coach, their manager. At the same time, hey, how can you not go for Dusty Baker and his career